Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share with you. It's called the best bread in the world. I copied this recipe from Dr. Berg from YouTube, whom I used to watch. He is endorsing intermittent fasting combined with keto diet, but I modified it a little bit because when I tried the recipe the first and second time, the bread turned out to become like a stone. It's so hard. But when I tried changing a little bit the recipe, it turned out to be really soft. And yeah, it's really the texture. This is already 3 days old, but see, it's still you can press and it's still very soft and it's very airy inside. So first, I need time to let the yeast rise. This is 1 1/4 cup of water, warm water. It also calls for around 40 degrees. And also in the recipe, it calls for 2 tablespoons maple syrup. But since I don't have maple syrup, so I took molasses and I took just 1/2 teaspoon since the molasses is more thicker, because in the recipe it calls for 2 teaspoon molasses. But now I just took a 1/2 teaspoon molasses. So I'm going to let it melt there, and then I'm going to mix the yeast, which is equivalent to 2 teaspoons. This package is, I bought it from the local store here in Austria. It's in 𝐊𝐿𝐻. It's exactly 2 teaspoons. So I don't have to measure it already. You just have to open it up and pour it in the warm water with the mixture of molasses and let it sit here for 10 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer to 10 minutes. So while we wait for the yeast to work, I'm going to mix the dry ingredient. What I did that worked out good is I sip everything. The first ingredient is this is the almond flour. It's 1 cup. So I try to sieve it so that they will all become separated. All those turn into balls will be separated. Okay, that's the original recipe calls for 1 cup flour. So everything is now fine. So I can put that down. And then the next one is the arrowroot flour. It's normally it calls for 1 cup, but like I said, when I mix the dough with the wet ingredient, it becomes so sticky. I think that's the reason why, because this is actually serves as the gluten that makes the dough become sticky. But since it was so sticky, I instead of adding 1 cup, I am only adding now 3/4. So I kind of take off 1/4 cup out of the recipe. And then the third is a coconut flour. It calls for 1/3 cup. So these are all the dry ingredients that we should mix together in one mixing bowl. And then what comes with it is the 1 teaspoon of salt, and I use the Himalayan salt. So we just mix them all together. So, and now we have to wait until our yeast will work, and after 10 minutes we're going to mix the husk, the psyllium flour, and the grounded chia seed. All right, so 10 minutes is over. So basically it looks like this after 10 minutes. So we need to put now this is the psyllium husk, that is 2 tablespoons. Mix it like that. And this is the chia seed powder. It's like I said, only 1 tablespoon. Normally it calls for 1.5, but I took out the half. So I mix it a little bit and then leave it for another 2 to 3 minutes so that it's gonna, you will see how it works after 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, let me do this.
I did it already.
Yeah, we need to do it again. So I set it for 3 minutes, and after that I think that's basically it. When that's finished, we mix it with the dry ingredient, knead it a little bit, and set this aside for an hour in a warm place. So I basically put it in the oven for an hour. Okay, so 3 minutes is over. So look how it went up. So this serves to become like the gluten for the bread, since we are using almond flour and coconut flour where there is no gluten in it. So we need something to bind the dough. So this serves as the binder. So after we mix it, we will pour it in the dry ingredient. So I'm gonna pour it now. I can feel it's still thick, really thick. Now it's on the dry ingredients. You just have to mix the dry ingredient with it. So now while I'm mixing it, I can feel that the consistency is very thick. That's why I can go ahead and add a little bit more water. But the water that I'm going to add is warm. Same as warm as the one that I used to mix the yeast with. It's still very thick. This is the consistency of the bread, the first recipe that I did, which turned out to be really hard. So you can mix it. The dough should be very soft, and it should be a little bit watery. So it's not going to hurt it if you just add a little bit more water in it. So I feel it's still a little how would I say that? It's not that the consistency that I wanted, so I can add a little bit more water. I'm going to add a bit more. I think the softer the dough is, the softer the bread will become also when it is baked. And with this, I just have to cover it with wet towel and put it in the oven I'll set it for an hour, and then after that we're going to bake it. Okay, so this is a normal kitchen towel that is wet with warm water. Just have to cover the dough like that, and then put it in the oven. So after it's rise for an hour, sit there for an hour. This is how it looks. It's double the size. We just have to put it like this in the oven for 35 minutes, for 35 to 40 minutes, also 200 degrees centigrade. Okay, 35 minutes is over. So this is the bread. This is how it looks like. What I forgot here is normally before we put it in the oven, we should put a yellow egg, brush it on top to become golden brown. But anyway, it turned to be golden brown. So it's crunchy and it's soft. You can see it's really soft in the middle. So that's the best bread in the world. Take it away.